The US stock market closed last week with confident gains of three benchmark stock indexes. Early in the week, the US stocks encountered sell-offs for 3 days straight. A steep fall is considered a downward correction, which came as a result of soaring inflation in April. The latest CPI report logged the highest surge in consumer prices since 2009. However, the US Fed downplays the gravity of the situation, saying that the leap in inflation was transitory. Indirectly, the Fed's viewpoint is proven by a report released on Friday that unexpectedly showed flat retail sales in the United States. So the market calmed down and resumed its growth. The S&P 500 closed on Friday with a 1.5% weekly gain. Today, it climbed to 4,170 points. Apparently, the US stocks are trying to hit one-year highs after the market gained a strong momentum on Friday. At the same time, a lot of stock investors are willing to sell their shares at such elevated levels. Hence, the S&P 500 is expected to trade firmly in the corridor of 4,130 to 4,210 until fresh macroeconomic data is published later this week. Meanwhile, the US dollar wants to regain a foothold following a steep decline on Friday. Today, its index is trading at near 90 and 30. Experts do not see either technical or fundamental preconditions for the greenback's growth. Therefore, the US dollar index is likely to trade in a narrow corridor of 89 and 80 to 90 and 60. The US currency is extending weakness against its Canadian rival. Today, the USD CAD pair is trading at about 1.2105. Analysts expect the corridor of 1.2040 to 1.2140. As the medium-term outlook for the US dollar is bearish, the loonie will be able to assert a strength in the near time. When it comes to the crypto market, it's facing a severe downturn over the last half of a year. Bitcoin shed over 10% of its value in the last 24 hours, as investors are unnerved in light of statements of Elon Musk. Tesla CEO suggested at the weekend that the company is considering selling or may have already sold some of its holdings in the cryptocurrency. Moreover, Tesla boss announced that electric cars cannot be paid in bitcoins. All in all, discouraged investors rushed to sell their crypto holdings. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is trading at around $45,000 per token. This price level is exactly in between resistance and support. The most popular digital token has not determined its further trajectory yet. However, investors are braced for a decline to $42,000 and $44,000. Afterwards, the number one cryptocurrency is likely to make an upward correction. In his speech today, Vice Chairman of the US Fed, Richard Clarida, reiterated that the central bank is going to stick to the ongoing accommodative monetary policy. In other words, a monthly volume of bond buying amounts to $120 billion. Besides, the federal funds rate is put on hold at a record low of nearly zero. Such statements from Richard Clarida and his colleagues could put pressure on the US dollar. And that's all for today. We keep monitoring the financial market situation. Subscribe to our channel and see you tomorrow.